Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Ann Mitchell, the founder of Black Bloggers Connect and the founder of Blogger Week. And today we have with us Derrick Jaxn, who is a very popular lifestyle blogger. So I'm just going to give you some background information about Derrick, and then we're going to jump right into the conversation. All right, Derrick Jaxn is a lifestyle blogger and an award-winning author of the novel A Cheating Man's Heart. The Rocky Mountain, North Carolina blogger has elevated his personal blog, Derrick Jaxn, Jaxn spelled Jaxn, from being a diary of thought and perspective to a lifestyle platform that has garnered him over 100,000 social media followers and readers with over 80,000 Facebook likes alone. He has popular articles such as 12 Things She Wishes You Understood and The Wake Up Call. Sincerely, Trayvon Martin. And these have been shared among social network users over 150,000 times collectively. Lifestyle brands such as Mommy Nure, Vibe Vixen, Single Black Male, Hip Hop Inquirer, Sirius XM Urban View, and New York's Hot 97 Street Soldiers with Lisa Evers has already obtained Jaxn's unique perspective for their audience. He consistently does radio interviews covering a variety of topics from dating and relationship to the state of black men in America and more. In March 2014, he was awarded Breakout Author of the Year by African Americans on the Move Book Club. His boundless potential to be one of the most influential male voices among millennials makes Derrick Jaxn one to watch. He's represented by Dream Relations Agency. So welcome, Derrick.
Hey, what's going on? You actually make me sound kind of special over there.
Well, I mean, you got a lot going on, and I know people want to know all about how you got started, so that's where we're going to start. How did you get started? When did you set up your website, and how did you start building your brand?
I want to say I got started about maybe a year and a half ago, just casually. I actually started from Twitter and just Facebook statuses, and when people connected with that, and and I enjoyed the feeling I got from connecting with people, it really just evolved. It wasn't formulaic. It wasn't something I decided, before I started anything. It was like one thing led to another, and I said, well, I might want to take this serious. So just a couple of months in, I wasn't getting much traffic or anything like that, but between my close friends and associates and classmates, they enjoyed what I wrote, and I said, I want to take this serious. I want to say it was December. It was about November of 2012. Yeah, November of 2012. I decided I wanted, to put together a plan, and I did, and I launched everything. I rebranded the website as DerrickJaxn.com. I made a Facebook page, and Twitter and all that good stuff, and Instagram, and that was in January of 2013 of last year. So yeah, since then, a couple of things have taken off.
Okay, so how did you get started with for organizing your posts? Because we know that you have a lot of different articles that have really gone viral, and why do you think, what is your most viral article, and why do you think that one in particular went viral?
Well, I'll start with the first one. You really have to play to your strengths. Whenever I got on the topics of love and relationship, people really gravitated toward it, but at the same time, whenever there was a social issue, it really probably gripped me a little bit more than a love and relationship thing, except for I couldn't invest myself into, black and white topics 24/7 because it's kind of exhausting. It's really taxing. But the most viral article had to be the Trayvon Martin article that I had done, and that was one of them. From my page, it got like 80,000 shares. From another page, got like 90,000. I mean, it just was everywhere, celebrities and what have you. And I think that the viral success came from not only, my ability to articulate what was really on a lot of people's mind, but also the timing. For anybody that does current event stuff, they're really in a good position to have viral content because whenever the entire nation is on that page talking about it, you could come to the forefront as a voice for a particular people. Mine in particular was for the African American community.
Mm-hmm. And what were some of the sentiments that you kept hearing from people about that article?
Got like 80,000 shares. From another page got like 90,000. I mean, it just
I'm getting some playback.
Celebrities and what have you. And I think that the viral success came from not only, my ability to articulate, was really on a lot of people's mind, but also the timing. For anybody that does current event stuff, they're really in a good position to have viral content, because whenever the entire nation is on that page.
Hold on, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. It looks like we have somebody joining us in the Google Hangout. If you just came on, I think it's Aaron. Mute yourself so that we can just hear Derrick right now.
Did you see me over here panicking and all of that?
Yes, I did.
You're like, oh, wait, can you hear me?
No, I can hear you.
What was the question? I forgot what it was. Oh, what was some of the feedback, I think you said, right?
Yes.
The feedback on that particular article was, it was really mixed. When you're talking about race, anything to do with race in America, who's been enjoying the comfort of, post-racism America, and to have something that really makes, null and void that whole argument, I got a really mixed reaction, really. But there was a lot of people saying that they could relate to what I was saying. That was the overwhelming majority, but there was definitely both sides pretty loudly. But another one that probably, one of my articles that went viral that was more aligned with what I do mostly, which is love and relationship and lifestyle talking, it was called 20 Things She Wishes You Understood, no, 12 Things She Wishes You Understood. Mm-hmm. And that, it was funny because the sentiment was, I wish somebody had come forward sooner. This is something I've always been wanting to say, but didn't know quite how to say it. And that's whenever I realized, I was like, that's my niche. What are people already thinking and already feeling? How can I put words with that?
Mm-hmm. So what do you use any specific images with your blog post that you think grabs people's attention?
It's not really the images, you would think so, but it's really not the images. I think it's the title. It's like whenever a person first sees, if you're going to promote primarily, like me, my strategy was to promote primarily through Facebook. I like the platform and how people can share and like and all that good stuff. You probably got about 2 to 3 seconds to really grab their attention. Now the picture may do it, but there's a million pictures. Normally it's the title. You know what I mean? Normally it's the title. Like, what is going to grab somebody's attention? Because if you look on Facebook as you're scrolling down, it's about 50 things at one time that's asking for a click, asking for attention. So you got to make your title, 1, compete, and 2, resonate with your target audience. Me, it was 25 to 35-year-old women, educated women. So I wanted to put relevant topics to them, and 12 Things She Wishes You Understood is going to, I believe that drew women in to say, I wonder if he's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So what did the guys think about that post?
They thought that it was overly optimistic, as most times I think what you're going to get from guys, if you're not speaking to guys' issues and stuff like that, and like I said, when you have a target audience, this is why you can't please everybody, because you're going to have a target audience, and the people outside of that target audience is going to get a hold of whatever you've written or your product or whatever, and it's not for them, so they're not going to enjoy it. So of course, a lot of their feedback was negative. But it wasn't that much because they just don't read stuff like that, to be honest. There's not a whole lot, unless they're coming for an argument. But yeah, the guys is pretty much just like, oh, that's just one type of girl. Of course, there's a different type of girl. I'm like, duh.
Okay. Well, we have a question from Jason, and he said, do you run into issues being a black man in a majority woman-empowered field?
It's not so much running into issues because the thing is, what we've seen, especially since Steve Harvey kind of kicked down the door, is a lot of people, black males, young black males, that have come along in that sort of a hostile feminist temperament that I think that he's referring to. But I do empower women, you know what I mean? And the reason why is because my experiences with women has been positive. Between my mother, my sisters, and that's who all I was raised with. I didn't have a father figure. I didn't have my older brother. But I was raised around very strong and influential women. So whenever I talk like I'm talking to those kinds of women. And in that, I don't experience friction in that. If I experience any kind of friction, it's mainly from guys who are a little bit threatened by what I'm saying. If I come off like everybody else, which if you know, like I know, you've seen. Leave him if he don't know your worth. That kind of sentiment. Have you seen that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one, but that kind of hostile feminism has become such a trend that whenever you see a black male talking or speaking to issues, related with women, it comes off like, oh, he's trying to sell out and play on the emotions of women and tell them what they want to hear. So that's the feedback I've gotten majority of the time from fellas until they take a second to hear exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get that. And a lot of times people confuse hostility with feminism because that's two different things. But it's really interesting to get readers' feedback and really get them coming back to the blog for more. So what are the things that you do to keep the people coming back? Do you have like an email marketing system? Do you use like constant contact or something like that to give people your posts?
None of that. Actually, I wanted, like I said, my entire strategy from the beginning was to leverage social media. Now, between Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I've seen so many people go viral. I mean, it's just a different ball game. 10 years ago, we didn't have these platforms, but now everybody pretty much, I won't say has a fair shot, but in a sense does, because everybody has a voice, and I've seen so many people go viral and experience such success, myself included. I think I went viral maybe 4 or 5 times last year, and I went viral once this year. I would say just once. The second time was pretty good. But I didn't need that. I would recommend it because what Facebook is doing now, if you're using Facebook, they're changing their algorithms to where they limit a lot of what you can see. Maybe you've noticed those changes, but certain, content gets seen by you and not others. So an email marketing system would be more surefire. With me, I just wanted to get my content out, and with Facebook, it's like as soon as somebody press like, it gets shared to their friends, and as soon as somebody comments, it goes to the top of the newsfeed. So.
Yeah, definitely. The Facebook conversation is something that's gotten really popular. They really have changed their algorithms, but I think that it's very necessary for people to understand. And they're basically trying to aggregate what's more popular with people. So when you have a post like yours that goes viral, the more people like it, the more people share it, the more Facebook shows it. And that's how it continues to go viral. So I think that's a really good lesson that we can all learn from. All right, so we have a few more questions. So let me look. And for people, if you want to ask a question, you can tweet us at #BloggerWeek using that hashtag, and we can get a question answered that way. And let me make sure that I grab some of the questions. Someone asked, how do you get paid to do what you love?
There's different ways to monetize your blog. It really depends on where your people are at. If it's strictly from your website, or if it's strictly from Facebook. If your thing is just Facebook and you like to post entire articles on Facebook or Twitter, I don't know what, it depends what it is, because Facebook has this thing called mylikes.com or likes.com, I think it is now, where you can get paid per click. That was one of the things I do, and another friend of mine who introduced me to it, in 6 months he had made $13,000 on it. So I mean, I just started not long ago, but Google AdSense, second-hand and third-party promotion through other bloggers that are looking for just a way to get their voice out there. There's different ways to monetize it that way, and also products. I eventually wrote a book, and that's been very helpful as well.
So how have you been? I realized, isn't your book on Amazon?
It is. It is on Amazon.
So how do you utilize Facebook, Twitter, and your other social media networks to sell your book? Because I know a lot of bloggers out there are authors as well.
Really, that's the platform to get it out. It's funny because you can reach so many people, but then what you have to do is find a way to differentiate your post from what everybody else is seeing. So I had tried a couple of different tactics. Mind you, this is my very first book. You know what I mean? I'm not so much of an expert on this, but I can tell you what worked for me, and it actually did work out pretty well. I contacted a well-known graphic designer, and I had him draw the characters of my book out. I made bios for them, and I would post them in like really funny bios, and that got a lot of attention, and that got a lot of people to clicking on it. I reached out to friends of mine with Facebook pages, some of them with 400 and 500,000 likes and all these different things. I reached out to them and had them post my book or quotes from the book or an entire excerpt from the book late at night, depending on what it was, and try to get conversations around the topics. So you just got to find different ways to keep stirring up conversation and attention around it. Also, I loved photography ever since college. So different pages that post these male models and stuff like that, I would do these photo shoots, and I would send my pictures off to them and say, put this link with my picture. You just have to really play to your niche and find different ways to grab people's attention in every way you can.
Okay. Now, somebody had a question about when they're just beginning. How many posts should I publish when opening my blog?
I would say just establish a pattern. It doesn't have to be every day. I think the more often you can, the better. But with me, like I was still working a full-time job, so I really didn't have a lot of time to post every single day. It takes 2 or 3 hours for me, depending on the subject. So just establish a regular pattern. There are some blogs that are very successful and get 5,000 or 6,000 Facebook shares every blog that only post once a month. You know, but if you can get a regular pattern, mine was about once every week. I would try to get it on about Saturday afternoon, and I would post then. The main thing is in between time, be sharing and getting the word out. Find ways to keep people fed in between time is what they call it. It's kind of like in the music industry, you got rappers, they put out albums, but in between time they put out singles, mixtapes, they do shows. So you have to find a way to keep people fed, and my way to keep people fed was through my quotes. I made memes and things like that. So I kept people fed that way, and when those kept getting traffic, eventually I'll put out an article and more traffic will start to come. What
did you use to create your memes?
I have Photoshop, like I said, and ever since college I've been deep into photography, so I was just comfortable with making the memes. But really, they have so many apps out. You don't need Photoshop by any stretch of the imagination. They have so many apps out. Just find something that's going to create you a little signature look. Put some words from you, and if they resonate with people, people will share.
Okay, great. Aaron, I think you're on the line. Did you want to contribute something to that? Did you have anything to add?
Aaron has a nice picture, though. It's a very nice picture.
Aaron, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm sorry. I was a little hesitant to interrupt because I think I caused more disruption initially.
No, that's okay.
Trying to join you guys. Firstly, thank you, Derrick. Thank you, Jessica. I'm sort of multitasking. I'm listening and actually writing content to publish to my own blog. But one of the questions, Derrick, if I may, I know you've spoken a lot about just social media activity, and I like the point that you made about feeding your followers and your audience in between actually publishing content to your blog and all of that, which is excellent. What social media platform would you say, if you had to choose one in particular, if you haven't already answered this question, and mind you, I logged in a few minutes late, but what platform seems to lend you the most visibility, or what platform do you most prefer in terms of just engaging with your audience and with your followers?
From the beginning, it was Facebook, and it still is. I would say second would be Instagram. Being that I started with Twitter. The first thing I really concentrated on was Twitter, and really just, I would get 200 and 300 retweets on certain things I would say, and all these different things, but it wasn't translating into clicks. Like I would still get maybe 100 or 150 clicks to any given article. But when it got to Facebook, I noticed, I was like, okay, there's a different, it's like when people are on Facebook, they're ready to read articles. You know, and Instagram is a little bit tougher, but the reason why I mentioned Instagram is because more people are going to see it because it's the newest one out of the three. But Facebook, I would definitely recommend really honing in on, especially if your target audience is more of a mature crowd, 35, 40 years old, something like that, which I have a lot of readers in that demographic. And whenever I got to Facebook, and then I started seeing numbers like 40,000, 50,000 on a given article. And then, like I said, and this is all, like I really got serious and relaunched everything January of 2013. So this happened relatively quickly, and Facebook has really been the driver.
Interesting. And if I may ask a question, because, well, I guess for me, in terms of just the responsiveness to my content and what I kind of hear most consistently amongst a lot of people, and I think, Jessica, you kind of spoke to this too in terms of like the algorithms changing for Facebook and everything. I don't see nearly as much responsiveness and activity, and like the level of engagement has definitely decreased as far as my posts on Facebook. So what would you say, I guess, do you have any one particular suggestion as it relates to posting content to Facebook? Like I actually am gaining more consistency in terms of responsiveness on right now on Google Plus. Twitter has always been consistent, so the numbers just continue to grow. Instagram is growing, but like definitely Google Plus is where I'm saying, and Pinterest as well are the two platforms that I'm seeing the most like significant and like consistent increase. But Facebook, honestly, like in terms of priority, in terms of like the visibility of my content, like that's kind of like dropping lower and lower on the list because I'm just not seeing the same level of engagement, and the same responsiveness or just the visibility of it is like slim to none.
Right, it's diminished quite drastically. She made a point earlier in what a lot of people feel like, and I mean, this is myself, other page admins with over 100,000 fans and all that good stuff feel like, is that Facebook, what they're really trying to do, and they dress it up one way, but what they're really trying to do is get page admins to start paying for their posts. You know what I mean? Right. So they've heavily affected some people, but if you notice, Tony Gaskins, Dr. Farrah Gray, there are certain pages that are still thriving. I think Tyrese had a page in August, he had 800,000 fans. Now he has 13 million. Like, Facebook hasn't hit everybody. Me, the effect it had on me was it kind of cut out my middleman. Now it's either hit or miss. Like, I had a video maybe a month ago that got over 200,000 shares, I think over 2.5 million hits. But there's also a lot of posts I would normally post to get 4,000 shares that are getting like just 100 or something like that. What I would recommend is, as far as Facebook goes, you may not be able to do much from your Facebook page, but do link up and do partner with other people whose Facebook pages are still thriving, because there is a small percentage who is. Also, while you're doing that, keep on pushing through your Google Plus and your Twitter and those things. Don't stop. If that's what's kind of growing for you, find ways to keep leveraging that. That's what I would do.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to mute myself so I don't disrupt you guys anymore, but thank you for the feedback. Thank you, Jessica.
No problem. I want to add to that as well. With the Facebook algorithms changing, Derrick made an excellent point about how it really is hit or miss. And one of the things that I've realized is, for me, I'm a fan of a lot of other Facebook pages. My fan page isn't really a lot of people. I have about just 5,000 fans on my Facebook page. But the way in which that I keep them engaged and keep it growing is when I'm looking, I'm also a fan of other people's pages. So when they post something that's really hot, that really gets a lot of feedback, they post an image that goes along with the theme of my blog and that all of their viewers are liking or sharing, I take the share button and share it on the page that I manage, and I start getting that same kind of engagement, because certain posts really get a lot of people's attention, and you want to be a part of that, and you can really kind of latch on to somebody else's page as well. If you don't have any content to share, somebody else might have something really good to share, and you can just borrow from them. And you're not stealing, because you're just hitting the share button and you're sharing it on your Facebook page as well, and it's showing which other Facebook page it came from. All right, Derrick, we have some questions for you. Okay. Casey Boyd asks, what is your favorite hashtag to use on Twitter?
The one I've been using as of late, I haven't went in on hashtags in quite some time. I was on the front end of Black Twitter. You heard of that, the term?
Yes, definitely.
I was one of the Black Twitter kings. That was me, and I kind of graduated from that, so I haven't been doing this in quite some time. But the one I've been using as of late has been Post Racism America.
Twitter is really where I go and vent a little bit. You know, I'm a little bit more strategic on Facebook and that kind of thing, but when I get to Twitter, I really vent. And with everything that's going on around between the Donald Sterling, Richard Sherman, Shanika Taylor, if you know about the woman that got locked up that said she was homeless, but I don't think she was. But anyway, all of that stuff. So I go on Twitter and I always put post-racism America. So that's probably my favorite one.
Okay, so do you have a particular hashtag that you know will get retweets? Is there like a particular formula that you use with your Twitter account when you're putting something out there, like a new post or something?
Absolutely, really, not really. I've noticed the memes have done well. Like I posted a meme that had a side by side of Shanika Taylor and I forget the other young lady's name, but it was two Arizona mothers who had the same.
Wait, that was you?
That was me.
Oh, okay. No, I shared that meme on my fan page.
Cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that did pretty well as well. I couldn't track it because it got shared from so many different places, but it did get like a couple of thousand retweets. But what I've noticed between that one and the Richard Sherman one, did you see the one that had Richard Sherman and Justin Bieber side by side?
I think so. Yes, I saw that one too.
I created that one too. And like I said, that one's in February, and here we are just in April, just a couple of months between. I've noticed the success of those two. So I think memes, and like I said, I don't mind pushing the race button as long as I have a valid case to make. So post-racism America, my second one is probably Dear Relationship Experts, where I really counter a whole lot of stuff that we hear that I think not cool.
Just for fun, what's one of the things that you counter? Like one of the main things you counter?
The why buy the, there's a couple of them. There's quite a few of them actually. The one of them is why buy the cow if you can get the milk for free. That's one of them. And the way my thought process to that is, you buy the cow because you're in love with the cow. You're not in it for the milk. And if he is in it for the milk, then you got the wrong one to begin with. But so many people are trying to use their milk to leverage their way into a relationship, and we kind of perpetuate that by stop giving away the milk. You'll buy the cow. Like, he shouldn't be in it for the milk.
Definitely. Okay, so here's another question.
Okay.
How do you feel when viewers don't agree with your blog and continue to bash you? Hashtag stalkers.
I got this cool thing. It's called like the block button. I don't mind. I block like Matumbo. I'm not afraid. I don't mind when people disagree. I think we learn more from our differences in opinion. I'm all for that. And I probably appreciate more when somebody disagrees and teaches me something. Like, I really, really enjoy that. What bothers me is whenever probably somebody tries to take things out of context and then, like she said, keeps trying to bash and really just, it really makes the conversation counterproductive instead of progressive. So that's whenever I said, you know what, I have to manage my comment section on Facebook, because I'll get, like, I just had a post a couple of days ago that got over 1,000 comments. Like, it's really important to have great engagement, but if you have one, what I call a troll, and they're just taking the attention away from everybody and just saying BS just because they have that platform, you got to get them out of there. Well, I do.
So how long does it take for you to do that? And how do you decide between somebody that really is just passionate about something and a troll? Because I've had that issue on my Facebook page before, and I'm like, I'm not sure if I really want to completely block the person, but I feel like their comments are bordering on the attack mode.
Well, the funny thing about your page is that this is not a democracy. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is not a democracy. At the end of the day, this is your page. You invested in it. It's your platform. You worked hard for it. Nobody should be able to dictate anything on your page that you don't feel comfortable with. But like I said, what you don't want to do is discourage a difference of opinion. I'm just all about respectful and conversation that's just really progressive. Now, if they say one thing, I'm cool with that. I just let it go. Like, okay, they don't know what they're talking about. But somebody that's like 6, 7 comments and they're just going in and they're really just trying to pull people away from the conversation, that's when I'm like, okay, I got to get them out. And even if I am wrong, at the end of the day, it's my page. It's my page. If somebody's in your house and they yelling at you and they got their hands like this, you going to sit there and argue with them all day? No, you're going to put them out your house, right? I would think.
Definitely. All right, so let me see. I know there are some more questions. Let me go to Twitter and see if there's any on Twitter real quick while we're here.
Okay.
We are getting some tweets about the Hangout, so let me just... All right, so for anyone that's watching right now, if you have a question, we do have the question and answering session open. I'm thinking it's on the right side of your page, so you can type it in there. Okay, we do have another question. Does social media ever overwhelm you, and how do you disconnect?
Actually, it does from time to time. It's particularly whenever I go viral. That's when I have to really just step back. If you ever go viral, if you've ever been viral, if you ever go viral, you'll see what I mean. It'll be like, okay, the first time, well, probably the second time, was with the Trayvon Martin story, and really, I was on my way to work. I typed it up really quick, and I went in to go, went to go put my shoes on and all that. I left something, came back to my computer, maybe been 15 minutes later, and it already had gotten like 10,000 shares, and I mean, my messages were flooded, my Twitter was flooded, my email was flooded, and that's when I was like, it's like a surreal feeling. And yeah, at times you really do just have to take a step back. Give yourself a rest, because you might get caught up in the comments. If you're a passionate debater, like I'm a passionate debater, you know what I mean? Like I'm always trying to get somebody to see my side of the story. It's just me. But you can get caught up in that with somebody who just refuses. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like it doesn't hurt to take a step back every now and then, but it particularly happens whenever I went viral.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let me see. I've experienced that too. I've went viral about 3 or 4 times, and the first time I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
So I just like woke up I just checked my email and just saw a flood of emails.
Right.
And went on my Twitter and saw some good comments and then some "you're a BBB" comments.
Right.
But it's good to find a way to have balance and not get overwhelmed.
Mm-hmm.
So this is another great question. How do you deal with people who post personal agenda items on your page, i.e. their blog, program, or items they're trying to sell? I had a big problem with this. Help.
Whenever it's in my comment section, I've always had this thing, like when it's in my comment section, like I said, I don't want anything to take away from what's going on. If the comment section is the conversation. So if the conversation is going well and you got somebody trying to post a link to their mixtape or make money from home, which if that's your hustle, that's your hustle. But if you come in the comment section, I got a problem with that. But whenever they post it on the wall, I have my settings to where people can't see it unless they actually deliberately go to my Facebook wall and look for it. Mm-hmm. So I really don't care there. I mean, it's just not going to get that much interaction, and do what you want to do over there. But yeah, in my comment section is where I really moderate that, particularly like in the first hour after I post something. I make sure that if anybody's in there posting, any links to their stuff where they want to make money, I ban them real quick. I told you that block button. Block party. I take them to the block party.
Okay. All right. Let me see about some more questions. Any more questions? Continue to shoot them over in the Q&A session. Ask anything you want about how to make your blog go viral and managing your own Facebook page or Twitter or social media, because Derrick, he got you. He knows everything about this. So let me go to some more questions that we had that were submitted earlier. How many times is it appropriate to send out the same blog post link in a day?
I don't go over 2. I usually post, like when I'm posting mine, my thing is one in like midday. I think around one a little bit earlier. About maybe 9 o'clock in the morning. That's when people are actually the most attentive and ready to read. That's why people read papers in the morning. I mean, that's when they're really alert. But I also post it again like midday, probably like 4 or 5 o'clock, and then I won't post it again until the next morning. Like, you don't want to desensitize people, and you don't want to come off spammy, because once you do that, you're really going to start killing your own interaction. I've seen that. I won't say his name, but there's a Facebook page, and whenever I first got on,
he would get a minimum of 30 or 40,000 likes per post and all these different things. But as he got bigger, he started advertising so much for body wraps and all these different things that really weren't aligned with his content. And also, he had a book that, be honest with you, not many people liked, but he just, like, I mean, maybe 10 or 15 times a day. So after a while, people, what is it called? They start associating it with it. You know, they start associating, like, okay, I don't want to click on that. I've seen the same picture, the same link, and the same title. I'm not going to click on that. And it'll start affecting the rest of your links too. So like I said, I keep it maybe 2 times and then 1 time the next day, and it's done pretty well.
Okay, great. Do you encounter those that don't understand the commitment that is social media and maintaining consistent activity? So you may not always be able to come play outside.
I guess what it means, what I think that question means is, do I have people that don't understand that I can't always post every day, all day? Is that what they mean?
I think that she means the people in your life.
Oh, well, there's a way to manage that. You know what I mean? There's a way to manage that. With Facebook in particular, I keep going to Facebook because, like I said, that's my bread and butter for the most part, and I'm going to be getting into other things soon. But anywho, they have this thing where you can schedule posts. So if you're going to be busy, or if you want to, you know, if you got a significant other, some people have families and all that kind of stuff, schedule your post maybe like the night before. You could schedule, I say, about 4 or 5 posts to go out through the day, and it'll free up your time. I used to try to be by a computer all throughout the day, and it really was running me crazy. But what I found helpful was they even have websites called Hootsuite. You ever heard of that?
Yes.
It's like it's another scheduling service, so it really makes things more efficient. Hootsuite actually sends out tweets. They send out Facebook posts. I don't know if they do the Instagram thing, but I'm not as big on Instagram. I got about 16,000 followers there, but I'm just not as heavy on that. As far as Facebook goes, utilize the scheduling thing.
Okay, so we touched on this in the very beginning. Facebook, like I said earlier, a lot of bloggers are conflicted with what Facebook trying to do right now with the algorithms. And you were saying that you aren't currently connected with an email marketing system. Like, you don't have the email addresses of your readers and followers. So do you plan on doing that in the future, or what are your steps? Is that something that you're thinking about?
No, that's definitely something I'm wanting to get into because, like I said, the algorithms are really volatile, so you don't know, what's going to happen. What I'm looking for, actually, it was a plugin. I was looking for a plugin just not long ago to put on my website. But also, I do have subscribers through my website. Just WordPress just has that built in where people can subscribe, and it collects every email that subscribes. And I have a good bit so far. But as far as putting focus on it, going into my second book, which is going to be my product that I want to draw income from, absolutely, I'm looking to get an email list going. And I would recommend that, like I said, if you have access to 50 or 60,000 people at a click of a button, it's way more helpful than posting something with 50 or 60,000 Facebook fans and hoping Facebook is so gracious enough to let them see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Okay, we had another question. Would you quit your day job and do this full time?
Not really, and the reason why is because my day job doesn't really keep me from doing it. Like I'm still working my day job. My day job is rather lax. I maybe work 2 or 3 hours out the day if I want to work that day, and I'm off on every weekend. So if I can keep a consistent check that way, as well as continue trying to build my revenue through my blog and my books and that kind of thing, because like I said, this is all relatively new. I'm making okay money, but not nearly enough money where I feel like, oh, I can retire, or I can just chill on this. No. But would I, if it got in the way of it, I would look for a time to segue into that. I would look for a way to transition. I would save up, and then I would take my chances. I would get a plan and take my chances. But right now, I'm all right.
Okay, so I didn't get a chance to look at all of your videos. I think you're on YouTube, right?
I got a couple. I have a small presence on YouTube, which I'm getting ready to really bolster this summer. Okay.
So do you have some YouTube videos that have went viral, and if so, which ones and why?
None of them went viral. I mean, probably the best one I have is over it's got like 3,000 or 4,000 views. But I will say this: Facebook is a lot more generous to videos. So I would recommend anybody, you know, if they're getting ready to get into it, to start with videos as well simultaneously. Also with videos, the advantage that you have is it's a lot harder to copy. It's a lot harder to plagiarize. Like my thing is, like you said, you saw the Richard Sherman and the Justin Bieber thing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody, like, it was many pages will block your name out. Like, people are ruthless out here, you know, on social media. So if you have something they like, they'll love your ideas, but they will not want to give you credit for them. And if you're new coming into it now, where it's so heavy and so many people are writing and expressing themselves, and they don't mind taking ideas, I would definitely recommend getting video as a part of your brand progression.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up, because I actually had an issue like this the end of last year.
It hurt, didn't it?
Oh, yes. No, because I have a habit of Googling myself or Googling my blog posts, and I do think other bloggers should do that, like take the title and just copy paste that into Google just to see where it is and see who's talking about it. Some places where you'll just see the post in a forum, and I'm like, okay, cool, they're sharing it in a forum. But then I've seen some of the posts on an actual like website, and I saw one in particular that actually like did something. You know, they do this thing on the website, on the web, called spinning articles, where they take an article and they just rearrange some words so it's not exactly the same, but it's similar. Very, it's like taking and out and putting or something like that, but over the whole article. So how have you ever dealt with someone that has actually like stole your articles or words, or tried to do something close to that?
Not the articles, but the I mean, I have people that made, I mean, there's actually right now still standing an entire Facebook that's made up of me. It's a Facebook fan page, so I can't report it for imposter or whatever. But there's another Derrick Jaxn, and he had my pictures, and he put my quotes, my banner. He pretty much just duplicated. It was really creepy. But there are a couple of guys, you know, they'll see the comments, and if a woman is, you know, if their agenda is to get women's, I guess, lustful attention, and they see that I get that, they're like, oh, I'm just going to do what he did. So I've come across countless brothers that they almost verbatim will put my statuses. As I put statuses, they got like some kind of app that tells them when I post or something, and they will put it. And there's one guy, man, I won't call out his name, but he has about 15 or 20,000 followers based off of my quotes. It's so weird, and he gets all this attention. So, yeah, like I said, people shamelessly steal. And the thing about social media is you're kind of putting it out there for free. You know what I mean? Like, you're putting it out there for free. It's not in the book. It's not copywritten. So they kind of can do that. But like I said, if you're new, you're just a small fish, it's a lot of bigger sharks. And even right now, there's still people, like I said, the Justin Bieber thing just a couple of months ago, a gospel rapper stole it and posted it, and it did a lot. I'm not going to say his name, but a gospel rapper stole it and posted it, and it got a lot of numbers after he blurred out my name. It happens almost every time something goes viral. I'll catch it somewhere where somebody has blurred out the name because they don't want you to get credit for it.
Wow. So people are stealing your memes, and you're not being catfished, but you're used by people that catfish.
Yeah, somebody's catfishing other people with my pictures. A lot of people do it with the pictures, but he did it with my entire name and everything.
Well, I do believe that's something you can report to Facebook, because that's your face. Like, you don't need copyright on your face.
No, I've tried. It was for naught.
Wait, someone actually said in the questions, laugh out loud, I came across a few catfishers using your pics, shaking my head.
There's on Black Planet. I mean, who still gets on Black Planet? I don't know. I don't. But I got a lot of I get messages all the time about the people that are doing it, and there's a couple of guys on Black Planet. That was the craziest thing. Like, it might as well be MySpace. Like, really?
That's crazy. But I'm ashamed to say I'm not going to say I'm ashamed, because they're trying to make a comeback, but I do have a Black Planet page, but it's from like 1,000 years ago, and it's connected to News One because they're owned by the same company. So okay. whenever you get email, whenever News One puts out a new article, I'm getting it, so I didn't want to unsubscribe or cancel it. because of that, and I think that's why a lot of people still have it.
Well,
I never log in, but
your game.
but there are people that do. I take that back. Last year, I logged in twice to share an article in a forum because it still has a really good active forum. But I have a really good question that's right here.
Okay.
Have you ever gotten into a public beef with another blogger?
A public beef? Nah, that because really what happens, it don't help you. You know what I mean? It don't help you. But there are quite a few I don't care for. My whole thing is I'm not afraid to be politically incorrect. Like I didn't start this just for money. Like I said, it was really organic. It was really just me giving my thoughts, and I won't let anybody rob me of my honesty. And it's like I said, it's some people out there with agendas. This is from firsthand experience. This isn't me just kind of being a hater or anything like that. There was a guy, he posts a lot of Christian-based posts, which is cool. But whenever I talked to him on the phone and we were getting ready to work together and promote each other, the first thing out of his mouth was, he was like, yeah, I'm sure you want to help people. I'm sure you want to help women. But our agenda is to make money. That's all that matters. We need to make money. And it was coming from a guy like me. I was like, I really want to impact lives. I like the feeling I get from it. He was like, we here to make money. So if they don't want to hear it, we're not going to post it. And that tripped me out. And I kind of looked at people different from them. But so I won't get into a beef. But like I said, if somebody says something like, I'm not going to say that because that's going to be too direct. You're definitely going to know who that is. But, somebody says something, I'll kind of reply, but I won't reply to them. I'll just make it a topic on my page or on my Twitter, and I'll really set the record straight that way. It's more tasteful that way.
Okay. All right. So I have another question. How do you handle people getting infatuated with you, or at least the idea they create of you?
I don't get too caught up on it because, they'll hail you then nail you. You know what I mean? Like, you really have to take things with a grain of salt, and it's really tough to be like that because you want to enjoy the love. Like, if you've been looking, like for me, I always wanted somebody to relate to. I've had a lot of these emotions and thoughts bottled up over the years. I'm a man, and, emotions are kind of feminized, so I didn't feel comfortable talking, and when I finally got a chance to express myself, it did feel good. But I've seen too many times where people will put you on this pedestal just so they can knock you off of it. So I don't really get too caught up in it. I will say a thank you. I'm very humble. I will say a thank you, but that's not what makes me. So I don't get too caught up in it. I appreciate it because it could be worse, but it just doesn't do much for me, and I'm not going to let myself get to that point where I'm up in the clouds based on people's compliments or infatuation.
Okay. That's understandable because you can get caught up quickly. I've seen so many knockdown, drag out arguments between someone that has a Facebook fan page and one of their fans, all over a disagreement.
Well, I'm just talking about in general. Look at any celebrity. Look at LeBron James. They loved him and then they hated him really quick. Gabrielle Douglas. They picked the dumbest reason to hate her. Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, all of these stars we adored, and then all of a sudden we hated. You know what I mean? It's like, what do the compliments and all that stuff really mean?
Yeah. Okay, so we have another question. What made you start doing vlogging and add video to your portfolio? I know you touched on a little bit of this earlier about you have a couple videos, but what made you go into doing some of those videos?
Well, the first thing I ever wrote was, the first thing I started writing when I was 8 years old was poetry. And that's kind of always been my first love beyond anything else. I love poetry. And my problem with my poems being read is I feel like they couldn't feel my emotion. So the only way to really get them to feel my emotion is for them to, at minimum, hear me say the words, if not also see me. So that's why I started videos, and that's why I'm also going to be transitioning a lot more into videos going forward. I want to do a poetry book as well, so I'm kind of timing it just right, but that's what videos do for me. It gives me a chance to people to really embody my message as opposed to people just kind of reading it in whatever tone they want.
Okay. All right, so let me see. We have about 6 more minutes.
Okay.
It's 6 more minutes for everybody that's watching. Please submit any of your questions in the Q&A section so that I can make sure that we get them answered. Don't hesitate. If you have any type of question, go ahead and ask it now so that we can get Derrick's response and see how he handles things. So I'm going to look on the side and see if there are any new questions.
One point I'll make while you're looking that up, I think a common mistake people make is not taking their first impression seriously. So many people would, like, if they got an idea and it's burning in them, they'll just want to hurry up and put it out there. But there's another term I use for bad first impressions, and that's burn bridges. Like, you really have to make the most of those people that are seeing you for the very first time, because that's what you're going to grow from. And that has a lot to do with why my path to where I'm at so far has been rather short, as opposed to some people with 5 to 10 years in. I've only been doing this for a year and going on a year and a half now, and I've garnered quite a few people. Well, before I did anything, like I said, I took about 2 months to plan. I was, saving up. I was for a really good website that was going to be mobile friendly. I did photo shoots for the entire Christmas break. Like, I really took it serious. Like, whenever people see me for the very first time, I want them to like what they see and want to come back for more. So I think that's, like I said, I think that's something that people don't do very often. They'll just kind of half-step it just because they're just starting out. But every step should be your best foot forward, every single one.
That's great advice. And going on that, I do want to encourage everybody to try to get a professional photo, because it is a world of difference for your blog and for your brand to have a professional photo. I was lucky enough to have a friend that is a really famous photographer in Atlanta, and he took my headshots. And that really did me a huge favor. I've been using them forever and probably need some new headshots. But a lot of bloggers take that for granted. When you see their face, when you see them, it's just like, then people will read what you have. But then when they see your face, they also have something in their head as to what you're like as well, and you want that to look good.
Yeah, attach a level of professionalism or whatever you're doing, a standard of quality.
Okay, so I have some questions here on the side. Do you take contributors to your blog, or do you manage content entirely on your own?
No, I take contributors, but I mean, it's very rare because it has to be aligned with what I write. I've done 2 so far, so if it's not like women empowerment or just something that we all need to talk about, but if it's about like technology or it's about Build-A-Bear or some bull like that, I don't write about that. You know what I mean? So it doesn't do me any good. It kind of dilutes the equity of my brand to have things that aren't aligned. But no, I do take contributors if they have something to offer. They do have to have something to offer, and not necessarily a fan base that's equal with mine, but the content really has to do something like to mobilize my fans. Whenever I first started, that's really how, like I said, that was a part of me getting started, was going to websites and saying, let me write for you. And once they read my content, they liked it. But on the first 4 websites, I was the most popular article on the entire website for the history of the website. 4 in a row. You know what I mean? So like whoever's going to be a contributor has to bring their A game. Or I'm going to have to be quite frank when I'm like, can't help.
Yeah. How do you handle that? Because I deal with that too. I get a lot of emails, and I'm sure you do, as to, hey, can you post this on your blog? Can you post this on your website? Will you share this with your followers? How do you deal with kind of like gently rejecting some of the posts, or at least letting people know that you can't post it? Do you look at your face? What do you say?
Everybody can't get what they want. People in hell want ice water. They ain't the first time they're gonna hear no. But I will. What I'll first do is I'll humbly thank them, and I appreciate them for even coming to me. I appreciate that. But I let them know, like, I'm not really posting at that time, or I'm not comfortable with posting what they've done, or maybe they'll be open to me editing to my liking, and we can collaborate that way. So I'll try to work with them, but like I said, it's only been 2 different people I've posted ever on my website besides myself, and I'm really picky like that because I have a love for this craft.
That's understandable. All right, so let me look one more time on the Q&A. And there is one more question. Just want to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Erin Martin is going ham.
Yeah. She's going to be speaking at Blogger Week.
That's dope.
I have to unmute myself for that one. Yes, I am. Yeah, I ask a lot of questions. If nobody else wants to ask, I will ask the questions.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she already chatted. She said, I have tons of questions, smiley face. Okay, so this last question actually comes from Aaron. How often do you participate in activities/events such as this one tonight?
Between interviews and group chats like that, yeah, this is actually probably my first time being in a Google Hangout. But I actually host my own Spreecast chat every 1st and 15th, and the next one's getting ready to come up here tomorrow, actually. So yeah, I mean, for interview purposes and just trying to talk to other people's audiences, absolutely.
Okay, great. All right, so what time is it? It is official. It's 9:30 exactly. Whew. All right. That was really good. That was great. I'm really looking at the tweets on Twitter. People are really enjoying this conversation and learning a lot from you tonight. So we really appreciate you taking your time to do this Google Hangout with us, because this information is really important for bloggers to get. It is really important. So many of us are trying to grow our blogs and build our brands, and so speaking with you with all of your knowledge on this topic has been very insightful, and we really appreciate it.
No problem. If you have a hashtag, we can kind of continue for the next maybe 20 or 30 minutes on Twitter if you want to carry it over via hashtag, whatever hashtag you guys are using.
Okay, our hashtag for Blogger Week is hashtag Blogger Week. Okay. And if anybody has any further questions, what is your Twitter? Your Twitter is at Derrick Jaxn, right?
Right.
Remember, everyone, you spell his name Derrick Jaxn, Derrick Jaxn. So you can find him on Twitter and ask him any questions and loop in the other Blogger Week folks. It looks like we have this. Is anybody trying to do one last? Oh, okay. You just shared your Twitter. Yeah. Okay. So, is there anything else that you wanted people to know? Do you have anything coming up? Do you have any book readings coming up? Anything like that?
I'm going to be in Los Angeles on Sunday evening. Really, if you come to my Facebook, my Twitter, or my Instagram, you'll see more information about it. But I'll be in Los Angeles on Sunday doing a book signing and seminar. But yeah, definitely, everybody connect with me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Type in Derrick, Jaxn. Just type it in. I'll come up. Make sure on Facebook you choose the right one. It shouldn't be hard to tell, though. But Spreecast chat tomorrow. My book is in stores, online stores, Amazon and Barnes & Noble. It's called A Cheating Man's Heart. It's a fiction novel. And you can check it out in the reviews. It's over 500 reviews on Amazon right now. So, yeah, just check me out.
Yay, that's great. And also, I just want to let everyone know that Derrick Jaxn is represented by Dream Relations Agency. We said that at the beginning of the show, but we want to make sure that you know who is representing him and who is getting the word out there about his brand as well. So thank you again, Derrick. Like we said earlier, anybody that has any further questions for him, tweet him or use hashtag Blogger Week. And we will see everyone, hopefully, well, definitely the ones in the DMV area, and we have people traveling from California, from Nigeria, from Canada for the Blogger Week Networking Mixer and the official Blogger Week Unconference, and that is this Saturday. So don't forget to get your tickets. Please get your tickets, because if this sells out and you don't have a ticket, I cannot do anything about it. So get it now, because they're selling like hotcakes this week. So you can go to bloggerweek.eventbrite.com or just bloggerweek.com. And thank you again, Derrick, and have a good night, everybody.
Good night.